Alright, so this is a PC keyboard, an old PC keyboard that someone has given to me. I've basically turned it into something that I can plug into a joystick port of a Commodore 64, or basically an old 8-bit computer. I guess it would work with anything, basically, as long as it's old enough and it has one of these connectors, so a 9-pin, I think it's called a DIN connector. I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, this is the thing that plugs into the joystick port of my Commodore 64, and so I've basically taken a cable which I got on eBay. It's basically an extension cable, and I've left that socket, and I cut the other end to get to the wires. And then I've opened up this keyboard. There's a load of screws on the back. I unscrewed them all. You can take the actual key part off. Underneath you've got this sort of rubbery silicone-y thing, which is like the thing where when you press down the keys it pushes down on these things, and those things push down onto plastic sheets. Alright, there are a number of these transparent plastic sheets. There's a top one which has tracks on the underside, and those circles are where the keys are. Alright. And then you have a middle one, which is a separating one. Where's the separating one? Oh, there it is. And the middle one just has like holes where the keys are. And then the bottom one, which has the tracks and the conductive stuff on the upper side. So the top one has the conductive stuff on the underside, the bottom, and then you have the separating sheet. And then you have the bottom sheet, which has the conductive material on the upper face. Alright, so when you push down, say like you're pushing down in that location, you're basically connecting the track on the underside of the upper sheet to the top side of the bottom sheet. Okay, when that is pushed down. So what I've got there, the way I did this was I've used I needed something that would basically enable me to do that. So the best thing I found was to use this stuff. Where's it gone? All right, this copper tape. All right, this is sticky copper tape. All right, it's sticky. It's like sellotape, but it's conductive. It's copper strip, very thin stuff, and it's very easy to use. And I basically just run one from the letter Q all the way up to the top part here, and if you can see, I've soldered the wire which relates to the up. This is basically the up wire of the joystick. And then say I've done the same for A, soldered it to the different wire up there. So this, oh, and by the way, this is running on the, of course it's running on the underside. So I've stuck it to the underside of the top sheet, and then I've sort of folded it round on the top and soldered it on like that. Okay. So I've got one for Q, A, O, P, and space. That's going to those wires there. You've got to find out what the correct color coding for your wires are, because the cable that I bought is not a standard one, unfortunately. So it didn't have it wasn't using the standard colors, and yeah. So make sure that it's the correct ones. I'll tell you where these wires should be going in order to get the right movement in a minute. So yeah, so that's on the top sheet. Now on the middle sheet you just leave, and the bottom sheet has this is just all going to an earth wire. Okay, so all of these are interconnected. They're all connected up, and they're just going to a single earth wire, which is the blue one coming here. That's soldered onto that all those tracks on the bottom sheet. So because basically the way that these old joysticks work is, when you push up, what it's doing is it's gonna earth that wire. So that's what you need to. So when you do that, what's happening is you are earthing the up wire. If you do that, it's earthing the down wire, and if you do that, it's earthing the left wire and earthing the right wire, and that would be the fire wire. Okay, so it's basically zeroing that signal. Okay, So the earth wire in this case being the blue one. Now, things to be careful when you do this. I was getting a couple of problems. One of the problems was that when I pressed one key down, all of them would fire at the same point, because the problem was all of these tracks were still kind of connecting and conducting, all the tracks that were originally on the sheet. So what I've done to solve this is, can you see I just got a craft knife, and I just put Stanley knife, and I just cut the tracks to stop it, to stop getting that crosstalk from one direction to another. Okay, so I've cut all around wherever it needs to do to stop that from happening. That was one problem. Now the other problem that I had was that the earth bit wasn't working very well. So I was only getting an intermittent connection on the earth plate. So the reason being is that these copper strips are great, but they're not really conductive on the bottom side, on the sticky side. So when I stuck, like say, this strip onto this strip, it wasn't conducting from one to the other. So can you see what I've done here is I got some silver paint, some silver glue paint, which is a very useful thing. It's quite expensive, but it's very, very useful, and I've just painted on it to get so that it will conduct from one strip to another. Okay, so that the earth signal is going to be carried through the whole of this network here. And it doesn't matter, you don't need to cut on the bottom sheet, because you kind of need everything to kind of crosstalk. All of the bottom sheet for this particular hack it needs to be earthed. Okay, so fully earthing on this bit. The glue that I use, the silver glue, is this stuff here. It's really good. Electronic silver glue. It is quite expensive and it's quite smelly, but it does do the job. So it enables yeah, it's just quite good at just getting conductivity where there was, when it was very poor before. Okay, so that basically should work. And then I'm just holding it down a bit with a bit of tape, just to kind of keep it flush to keep it flushed down, so it doesn't push the keys up too much. You make sure everything's aligned properly, and then you just put the keyboard back in place. And yeah, and it seems to be working pretty well. So that's how you can make a key plug an old keyboard into a joystick port. Oh, and the other thing I was going to talk about, yes, so basically here's the joystick female socket. This is the one that plugs into the Commodore. So the wires that you need to do are basically this one here on the top right. That's up, then we go down. So this is moving along the top layer. It's up, down, left, right. Okay, I don't know what the last one is. And then on the bottom one, it's this one here on the right hand side is fire. Then I'm not sure. And then number 8, I think it is, or basically is the one that's the second from the left on the bottom row. That one is the earth one. Okay, so yeah, that's the one that's providing the earth or ground signal. So that's the one that's going to ground out the other directions when you push a direction in your joystick, or when you press a key on my keyboard. All right, cool. And I did hopefully show you how to test it as well. There's a simple program that you can do, which I'll probably try and stick on the beginning of this video, so hopefully it will be there. Okay, thanks very much, and good luck with it if you want to attempt it yourself. Just use an old keyboard, don't use an expensive one. This one was just given to me by a very kind person, a good friend of mine, and good luck everybody. Bye bye.